Right. Let's go through the warm-up. So we want to find the circumference and the area of a circle with radius of 2 centimeters. So circumference formula, again, you'll get this one on the test. 2 pi r. Area formula is pi r squared. So circumference, 2 pi times, what is the radius that we are using here? 2. So 2 pi times 2, 2 what? Centimeters. So we're going to multiply by 2 centimeters. What's 2 times 2? 4. So before I even stick it in my calculator, I have 4 pi centimeters. 2 pi times 2, 4 pi. If I did put this in my calculator right here, this is the first thing it's going to spit back out at me, is 4 pi. And then I want the decimal to go with that. So what do I hit if it says 4 pi, but I want the decimal? These two arrows right here, right there. So when you hit that on the calculator, what do you get? What is 4 pi centimeters in decimal form? 12.566. And that would be centimeters then. So there's our circumference. Something kind of interesting happens on this problem. It doesn't normally occur, but on this one it does. We come over to this area formula. Area equals pi r squared, and our radius is 2 centimeters. What is 2 squared? 4. So on this one, my area is 4 pi, but instead of centimeters, it's centimeters squared. We already stuck that in our calculator once. What is 4 pi in its decimal form? Yep, 12.566 centimeters squared. All right, then down on number 2. Number 2, they only want me to find the perimeter of this triangle. How do we find perimeter of a triangle? That would be my area. How do we find perimeter? How do we find perimeter of any shape? Yes, we're going to add up all the sides, which means we're going to have to find the distance of that slanted side. How do I find the distance of the other 2 sides? We can just count it. So for perimeter of a triangle, we're going to add all 3 sides. So let's find the distance of those 3 sides. Which ones can I count? Which sides? From C to B, this one right here, and from B to A. How far is it from C to B? 4 units. And you said from B to A, this side over here, how big is that side? That's 3 units. So I'm well on my way to finding my perimeter. I've got 3 plus 4 plus, and now I've got to come over here and find this side. This is where I have to use my area formula, my distance formula. You will get the distance formula to use on the test. D equals, and then we've got that big old square root sign. Yes. Absolutely correct. So x2 minus x1, close my parentheses, squared, plus y2 minus y1, close my parentheses, and square it. So I need some ordered pairs to work with here. Let's look at A. What's the ordered pair that goes with A down here? 0, 0. Are you guys okay if we call that x1 and y1? All right. Does it matter which one I call x1, y1? No. What's the ordered pair up here for C? 3, 4, because remember, it's how far did we go along the x-axis first, and then how far up. So 3, 4. All right, so let's take that and substitute into our distance formula. So I have distance is equal to, and then I've got my big old square root sign here. x2, what was our x2? 3. Minus my x1, what's x1? 0. Close my parentheses and square it. Plus y2, 4. Minus y1, 0 again. And square it. So distance equals, I've got the square root of, what's 3 minus 0? 3. So 3 squared plus 4 minus 0? 4. 4 squared. What's 3 squared? 9. Plus 4 squared? 16. Please keep in mind, before I roll any further forward, just because I saw this happen on the last test and I've seen it happen a couple other times and places, please notice my square root sign goes over everything. And we don't do that part until the very end. You cannot split the square root up over each of those pieces and then add them. You have to add them first and then square root them. What is 9 plus 16? 25. So I have the square root of 25. And what is the square root of 25? 5. So that side is 5 units long. Not my final answer, but I needed that information. So this side over here is 5 units. We can come over here, 3 plus 4 plus 5. What is 3 plus 4 plus 5? 12. So I have 12 units for our perimeter of that triangle there in the picture. We got lucky this time. It doesn't normally come out nice and pretty when we do a square root, does it? If it doesn't come out nice and pretty, put it in its exact form over here and then put it in your calculator. Did you have a question? Yeah, if it doesn't come out to a whole number, when you find that distance, we're going to just leave it as whatever under the square root. So if it's not one of the things that you know off the top of your head, it's not 25 or 64 or 100 or 9 or something like that, use it in its exact form in that perimeter formula, and then you would put it into its decimal form at the very, very end. Do you guys have any questions for me on the warm-up? All right. I'm going to pass out your review for the test. You've got the rest of the class period to work on that. So take one, pass the rest back. You guys are welcome to listen to music while you're working on that if you want to. You can work with a partner if you'd like to, but you have to be focused on working on geometry. You have to be focused on working on geometry during that time. If you guys get off task, I will break the group up. Please let me know if you guys have any questions while you're working through the review.